Hello, Maurieo Vlogs number 201. Fireworks. Hello, welcome. Well, there's been fireworks going off around our place, left, right and centre for the last 2 or 3 days. Well, it's Guy Fawkes, or it was Guy Fawkes yesterday. Today's the 6th of November, so the 5th of November is Guy Fawkes Day. And my cousin Michael's birthday, actually, so I always remember Michael's birthday. It was on Guy Fawkes Day. But the people are letting them off on the Saturday and the Friday night as well, because I guess they're more convenient nights than the Sunday night. And it depends on the weather and stuff like that. But generally there's always some going off. There's even some going off tonight on the Monday night. I don't know what the rationale behind that is, but anyway, that's how it is. So there's been, the old pets have been a bit worried and a bit, skittish and what have you. But we'll get over it, I suppose. It's been going on for years and years. But it's certainly changed a lot in my lifetime. It was pretty much open slather when I was a young lad, and but there wasn't the variety of ones available, and it was quite different crackers available. So the main go-to ones that I remember certainly were the Double Happy, which was, I guess, the main one, which was a banger. I don't think they're available at all now. You're not allowed to have bangers. And then there was the little Tom Thumb, which was tiny. It was only about 1.5 millimetre in diameter, and about 12-15 mils long. And you could sort of hold them in your hand if you were, very sort of careful. And they were the main ones. And then there was the mighty cannon, but they were quite expensive and made a big bang. You could blow up a letterbox with one of those, or put them in a bucket or something like that. They made a horrendous noise. They were awesome, but as I say, very expensive. Whereas you could get a string of Double Happies, for pretty cheap, really, and in their little red sort of wax paper packets that they came in, and carefully unstring them with a bit of wick and what have you. Or you could let off a whole string of them, bang, 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 like that, but generally individually. And then, of course, there was the skyrocket. I don't think they're allowed them anymore at all. They were awesome things on a stick. And then you had all your fancy ones, like your Mount Egmont or Vesuvius, or was named after volcanoes and things, and they were the pretty ones that your mum and dad sort of got out on fireworks night, when you put on a bit of a display for the family, like the blue touch paper, and walk back, the odd Catherine wheel and things like that, and different ones. And it was quite a bit of fun. But leading up, of course, you had these bangers, and you could do all sorts of things with them. You could put them in letterboxes, in sort of bottles, and we used to get a 303 shell casing, and you could put a Double Happy in those and rest them on one of the old wooden clothes pegs, and then light them, and then bang, and off they'd go and fly about, I don't know, a few metres. And so we could have all sorts of things. And then you could throw them down at people and scare them, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. But the odd house caught fire, and there was the odd bushfire, and took the odd eye out here and there, and the odd finger hands got damaged and stuff like that. But that was just all how it was. Got rid of the idiots, sort of thing, by Darwin's sort of survival of the fittest and what have you. But obviously that, wasn't everyone's cup of tea. And so people started, getting things lobbying the government and things like that. So in around about, I think around about 1974, it was, where they restricted the sale of fireworks down to only 10 days. 10 days in 1974. So there was a sort of there prior to that, the fireworks could be available year round, but generally, sensibly, the demand was around Guy Fawkes, so that's when they were. I also forgot the tales of woe I've read at my university days, which would have been around 1974. It was probably me and my colleagues that were responsible for that type of legislation being brought in. But who could forget the skyrocket wars, where at Otago they had a large house, large two-storey halls of residence, Unicole, and that was the centre of the fireworks wars, where the guys would get out with their vacuum cleaner tubes and their skyrockets and fire the skyrockets towards the university, the Unicole thing there. And it was great thing. I can remember couple of the guys I was at uni with. They had a house down somewhere by that area, and their house had a little turret at the top of it, and they used to get a couple of, I think the guys used to have vacuum cleaner tubes and like leather gloves that they'd hold the tube with, and then fire a skyrocket down the tube towards the building. And they had this flat there, and obviously the people were, the respectable people of Dunedin were pretty annoyed with the student behaviour in this regard, and fireworks and things like that. So the Otago Times must have done a time lapse or something of the skyrocket wars, and there was about 5 or 6 plumes of smoke and fire coming out of this flat. Pretty clear evidence of what was going on there. And so it was that this was the thing. And then of course obviously the fun police came in and cut down the sales to 10 days. And then I think subsequent to that, skyrockets were banned, and the banners and the bangers were banned. So the variety of fireworks was sort of diminished. And by that time I had children of my own, so I used to put on my own fireworks display. But they were, I know my wife used to despair, quite risque events as matches and fire and things like that things can get a little bit interesting. But nonetheless, all the kids survived, and I've sort of survived without most of my digits intact. And then as things progressed, now it's at the point where fireworks are only for sale from November the 2nd to November the 5th. And quite interesting things that are happening now, where we're getting little pop-up fireworks shops and things in that period, so that people can sell huge volumes of fireworks over that time. But at the moment we're still celebrating fireworks, and there's still people agitating to take that right away and putting all sorts of restrictions and things on it. Personally, I thought it was bloody good fun most of the time, and now that I don't have any children, and I tolerate it. It's bring your pets inside and sort of batten down the hatches, and she'll be right. But nothing of mine has ever caught fire or that sort of thing. I imagine that might change your opinion on things a wee bit. But nonetheless, it's still going on. So that brings us to today's background, which is this lady here, which, she was quite a big lobbyist around fireworks, as particularly around the 1975 when the sale of fireworks was reduced down to 10 days. So around that time, this lady was quite well known around New Zealand. Most people knew who she was. And she had the courage of her convictions to actually go around and spend a lot of time educating people about fireworks, and put a lot of time and effort into the whole area. So today's background is, what's the name of this this person, this lady here, and what was she known as? She had a popular sort of name that people knew her as. So this was around 1975. She was quite active subsequent to then, but unfortunately she died I think in around 1984-85, quite young, I think, as well. She did her bit and did her lobbying and what have you, and she's sort of largely forgotten these days, but I certainly remember her. I don't quite remember my attitudes towards her at the time, but I think you've got to respect people that stand up for what they believe in and are prepared to do things to make it happen, and this certainly describes this wonderful lady. Now, yesterday's one here was obviously my 200th vlog number 200, and the milestone. And I put up this picture here. There's a milestone in the back there. You can see 5 miles to London. And this is a picture of Dick Whittington and his cat. I don't know what the milestone has to do with the story, but it's seems to be always in pictures of Dick Whittington and his cat. He was Lord Mayor of London 3 times. So this is, yesterday's question or thing was Dick Whittington and his cats. And so that brings us to the end of vlog number 201, fireworks. I think you know what to do if you know the answer to the question and you want to make any comments. Do your thing. Cheers. See you.